Hey, welcome to Movies Worth Talking About. I am John Carlos, joined today by the Holly
Eddie!
I was gonna say
Yeah,
the Holly Jolly, but
well, you didn't tell me you were gonna do
the
that.
Eager
so-
Beaver. Well, yeah, it's
That's
fucking
me.
Eddie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's me, Eddie.
And here we're in December. We're the week into Christmas, and I just like to shoot the shit about some of our favorite Christmas movies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, and I think specifically, one of the things I wanted to not bore you, the viewers out there, is talking about favorites that aren't the typical favorites, because I feel like no one wants to come to watch this video and hear us talk about Elf or Christmas Vacation or A Christmas Story or It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm-hmm.
And I just watched Elf today, and you know what? It's a fucking goddamn delight all these years later. It is.
I've still never seen it.
What the fuck?
No, the funny thing is, like most of the classic Christmas
Oh my
movies.
god.
No, most of the classic Christmas movies that everybody has seen and that everybody like has associated with Christmas, like their entire like childhood into adulthood and everything. I just didn't watch them a lot. They just didn't. I have yet to see It's a Wonderful Life from beginning to end in its entirety. I haven't seen A Christmas Story. I've only seen clips. I was traumatized by it when I was a kid because I saw it out of context. I saw that one kid stick his tongue on the pole and get stuck, and it scared the shit out of me. So I changed the channel. I was really easily scared when I was a young kid by non-horror stuff because there was no intrigue about it. It was just kind of terrible. And I didn't want to watch the rest of the movie. I had no interest.
I was scared by it too, but it was a different scene. And I understand now that it's heightened to create the illusion of like the energy, but it's when he's going to meet Santa. And they use like a fisheye lens, and all the adults are like, "Come on, kid, get over here!"
Right,
and they're all very exaggerated.
Yeah,
but I didn't understand when I'm fucking 6 or 7 what like satire or implied context is. So I just see these shitty adults being shitty, and I just didn't like what I was seeing. But
not about it. So maybe one day I'll see it.
Yeah. Fuck, dude.
So it was really easy to avoid a lot of kind of like these, basic choices. I should say at the top, just to kind of avoid like some of the most basic, I did just like kind of not Google Ecosia, where they plant trees for everything you search. I Ecosia'd the top 100 list on IMDb of Christmas movies, like the most popular, and they rank them. I don't know why or how. But I basically avoided the top 25 because they seem to be the most popular. And so my list is only going to be ripped from below that 25 or things that didn't even make the list. So it's going to be an obscure Christmas, y'all.
Interesting. See, I'm not going super obscure. So again, let me just clarify this for the viewers at home, for our peeps watching. It's just trying to avoid the basics. As much as I love Elf. Fucking love Elf as much as I love Love Actually and watch it every goddamn year. Don't make that. I don't want that fucking face right now. There has been I'm not down with the Love Actually backlash that has come in the last few years. I'm not fucking down. You can dislike it, but just shut the fuck up about it and keep it to yourself. I fucking love Love Actually, but maybe one day we can do a basics discussion. But I also personally, but I had to stick to favorites.
Yeah.
10 favorites, because there are some obscure ones that I saw last year for the first time. For the first time. Therefore, even if I really love them, I'm like, well, they're not a favorite yet.
Right.
But like I saw Christmas Evil last year, and holy shit, that was great. Or oh jeez, I just forgot the name of it. The title makes no sense. The whole movie makes no fucking sense. It's the one about, tell me if you heard about it. It's the girl who's visiting her boyfriend's parents for the holidays, and she finds a samurai suit that gets possessed by a ghost and kills people, and the family can like telekinetically fight it. It's fucking nuts.
That sounds awesome. No, I haven't seen that.
Dude, it's fucking amazing. But I don't, that's not on the list because it hasn't, these are. Yeah. So anyway, I just didn't want to be a basic bitch for this, which
Gotcha.
also, unfortunately, I also won't be getting into Die Hard, which has become the most basic is it or isn't a Christmas movie
Yeah.
debate that has gone on for so many years that it's like, well, one, it kind of at this point is a Christmas movie, and two, it's so basic to make that debate anymore. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
anyways, there's some favorites, some new classics. Anyway, I already imagine, Eddie, that probably next Christmas, because I could do probably another 10 and start to maybe get a little more obscure.
Oh.
But I
Okay.
look forward to your obscurity. I hope you look forward to my personal favorites.
No, sure. I mean, and if you mention a favorite and it happens to be one of mine too, I'll say absolutely. But I just kind of wanted to, to avoid basicness, because that was the assignment.
Yes.
We came into some issues in the past with rules, so I just wanted to
Yes.
follow the rules. I wanted to do well.
I appreciate you listening.
You word.
All right.
Do you want to go first?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
At number 10, not necessarily number 10 in my heart, but just 10 in my ways of wanting to discuss. Because it's one of the Batman Returns.
Oh, fuck. Okay, cool. Yeah, me too.
It's on your list? Excellent.
Yes. I don't have them ranked or anything, so we'll just talk about it.
I haven't watched it yet this year, but
Me neither.
But almost every year I have to watch it.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite feel right if I don't get to it yet. I mean, I would sooner watch Batman Returns over A Christmas Story.
Oh, fuck
Like,
yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, because I haven't seen A Christmas Story, but I mean,
how
again,
do you not start your year with Gotham City and snow and a giant fucking box and circus people shooting out of it?
And just like, again, like that wonderful kind of like Elfman, like Burton's dark trilogy kind of like score going on, dark Christmas trilogy. I mean, like he always cited, even though he didn't direct Nightmare Before Christmas, it was his brainchild, so he always cited that. And Batman Returns and Edward Scissorhands is like his dark Christmas trilogy.
Yeah.
And unofficially. And but there's something about that just the snow and the darkness, the like all the nods to like old universal classic horror, that I don't know why it puts me in the mind of Christmas, but it totally does. And also because this is worth mentioning, like Christmas, it's not, and I'm sure there are people who are watching who can identify, it's not always about like holly jolly and the happy little elves, and all of that. It can be a tough time, before this year or even these past few years. It can be a dark time. It can be hard to get through. It can be a time for like memories and dealing with trauma and shit. So this movie kind of it makes me feel more included and more seen, because especially because I mean the main person I watch for is Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, and Selena Kyle, and then darker Selena Kyle, and just everything that she's going through seems pretty typical for the holidays.
Well, I mean, if you're going off what Phoebe Cates says in Gremlins, it is a very sad time of year for people who are alone and lonely. And I'm not saying anyone in this movie is suicidal or to trigger anyone who's suicidal, but just this idea of like, for some people, especially people who live alone and stuff, it can be the opposite effect. So to have Selena Kyle, who's already in essence alone, and then Bruce has Alfred, but he still doesn't have a family. And then Oswald doesn't, these three people who were just alone.
Yeah.
And
I mean, even the don't they have, they have a tree up by the fire, the biggest fireplace, walk-in fireplace you've ever seen, when he's sitting there with Selena and they're watching the tree lighting ceremony on, TV or whatever, the relighting. And it's one of the just saddest, it's beautifully lit, but it's just like one of the saddest, darkest trees. And it's huge. He's a millionaire. It should be opulent. And it is, but it's also opulence and austerity were never juggled so successfully, I feel. And and also just the end of it always gets me, whenever he's like holding the beautiful Miss Kitty.
Yeah,
And
goodwill
it's
towards
just, and it's
men
just like, yes.
and women.
And women. And it's like, oh, she changed him. Or she reached him. I don't know if
No,
she
yeah,
changed him.
no,
But yeah, she made an impact.
and even you're talking, bigger character beat, but also just the simplicity of, like, let's say there's just a scene of Bruce and Selena, walking outside,
Yeah.
and all the extras are like carrying Christmas presents, and like everyone's
Yeah.
shocked. Like the whole movie's just got the sprinkling of Christmas throughout.
Yeah.
So at any given scene, there's like a big, obvious like Christmas tree, or just
Yeah. And there's also like the looming threat of capitalism. So, and
yeah,
of duplicitous men in power with wealth and what they do with it and everything like that, which I think is always kind of on the periphery. The older you get, the more it kind of like rings true. And it makes me feel like this movie gets it. This movie gets this time of year. And
yeah.
and still I
And
can get like the thrills,
yep.
it's of the
And
fights.
Danny Elfman. Danny
Yeah.
Elfman certainly gets it too, because I like that. There's that melody from like the first Batman theme, like do 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 do, and I think it's done by like strings or horns in the first movie, but like at the end of this movie, like Goodwill Towards Men, and women, it's done by bells, and it's like snowing in the city, and
Yeah. It's so great. I
yeah.
got in an argument with a friend earlier this week about he wasn't alive when it happened, when it got released, but he was upset that it was released in the summer, and I had to explain to him, but you got the VHS around Christmas time, and that was my treasure. Christmas '92, that was the only thing I really cared about, was, am I gonna get my Batman Returns VHS so I can have it in my home and watch it as often as I watched the first Batman movie, and because especially I already had the soundtrack, I played it on a loop, I still have it completely committed to memory. And every track on that soundtrack I have completely committed to memory, and I could perform for you, but I won't. But
I mean, I would like to see that. I don't think we have the time.
Yeah, right. That's a pretty long score, but rooftops, because that's that little transmitter that he's putting underneath the hood of the Batmobile. Anyway, so there you go.
There you go.
This is all true.
Yeah.
So we shared one.
Yeah.
Cool. So since we shared one, you want to go again?
Oh, okay. Coming in at number 9 for me.
Yeah.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, good. Okay, cool.
Just a lovely time, Eddie.
Yeah.
What a sweet story. No, sometimes, I mean, there are a few movies, I think Eyes Wide Shut is one of those is it or isn't a Christmas movie movies.
Sure.
But for me, it is. Sometimes it just comes down to aesthetics. Like with Batman, well, Batman Returns hits me for a few other reasons, but like I could simply include Eyes Wide Shut because there's so much of, and I think they filmed in Prague, and they try to pass it off as New York, and it's the most European New York you'll ever see in a movie. But it's just, there's something about Tom Cruise walking around the city in the cold in his coat.
Yeah.
The way they've dressed the city, and just, I mean, I want to live in a Kubrick Christmas just for like 1 year, and for one Christmas season, to go to the party in the beginning of the movie, which is like all those strings of white lights. I mean, I don't want to go on the journey that Tom Cruise goes in that movie, because it's both draining and for a bit quite terrifying and also confusing.
Yeah.
And but no, when he goes and meets like his old buddy who's like the pianist at the bar, and that's how he gets to the party, like every venue they go to, and just the way it's decorated, and just aesthetically, I find that movie just to be very pleasing at the holiday season. And I know, like, anytime you can give me Christmas and then give me the dark underbelly of what the season is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I take, especially, that's why horror Christmas movies are so great because it's Christmas, but it's murder and death.
Sure.
And I get that same satisfaction from this, of this mistrustful odyssey that he goes on, and the night and day of it all. And it does become, the orgy is not fun or not titillating. It's terrifying.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, it scratches that horror movie itch for me. And then, and just the, not the climax, but the culmination, the denouement being in them toy shopping,
Yeah.
and the kids are still, that thing where we're trying to have a dumb conversation, the kids need to pop out, but there's giant fucking teddy bears around.
Yeah.
And I love that's the setting for like, well, there's one thing we need to do when we go home. But fuck. Credits. Like, Merry Christmas. Here's Tom Cruise and Nicole crying all fucking night. And going shopping the next day. And just putting all their like, that's Christmas right there. Is your shitty bullshit and putting it aside.
I mean, thank you for bringing that up, because there were some darker times in my childhood where there were Christmases. My sister and I were actually comparing notes about dark Christmases we had memories of, and we wondered if they were on the same nights. And we brought the evidence to my mother to be like, were these like the same years? And she said, no. We had so many bad Christmases that either one of you didn't even know about, or both of you didn't even know what was going on, because we could still successfully hide it. It makes me want, now I want to show my mom Eyes Wide Shut and ask her, was that ever you and Dad?
Did Dad ever go on a weird odyssey through Prague, New York?
It's like, yeah, but not on Christmas. It was more like Blue Velvet. And I'm like, oh, okay. Another late night, kind of like man who needs to like walk on the wild side in order to appreciate the security that he has. I always admire that particular subgenre of movie, but
I'm not gonna sit here and analyze why Eyes Wide Shut is a good movie. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun, not dark like murder dark, but just dark. The places it goes.
Okay, cool.
What a fun time. What a great hoot.
Yeah. Okay, so in keeping with the kind of after hours theme that we have going, my next is going to be another Christmas movie that stars Michelle Pfeiffer, and that's The Fabulous Baker Boys, which I think a lot of people forget like takes place kind of exclusively around Christmas and New Year's. And again, like I love it because they're people who sleep during the day and wake up like just as the sun is setting, and it's a whole other life. And whenever they are awake during the day, something seems off. And there's something about that side of Christmas, like the working class side of Christmas, but still artistic, because the Jeff Bridges and Beau Bridges are piano playing brothers, and Michelle Pfeiffer is a lounge singer. So there's still some kind of sense of artistic integrity and artistic goals even, and maybe even lost dreams. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but it's just a situation about these three people. It could have been made like in the era of film noir and everything like that, but because it's contemporary, there's also this humor that's chased into it, and Christmas is a character in it almost ironically. And it really does make me feel the season. And again, like it just kind of feeds that you don't have to be happy this time of year. You can feel other things. You can be worried, you can be annoyed, you can even just like roll your eyes at someone who's really having a good time at being Christmas, and still it's not even in judgment. It's just kind of like, geez, this guy, like, and then you just go off and back to your reality, because Christmas is basically just kind of like a time of year for you to like capitalize on. Okay, I got to pull out the red dress. I got to pull out the Santa hat and play those Christmas tunes and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just, it's another thing that just kind of like makes me feel more earthbound. And I haven't watched that one yet either, and I need it. So I will very soon.
And I think you just found this out recently. I've never seen it. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't spoil anything. It's a good movie. It's a damn good movie.
I remember there's a period in the maybe 4 to 5 years after that movie came out where like every comedy had to have a character laying on a piano,
yeah,
a dress. That was like the gag. I think Naked Gun did it. Fucking Animaniacs. It was in everything. That's all I know about that fucking movie is Michelle Pfeiffer on piano.
It is an unforgettable sequence, and yeah, I highly recommend watching. Come for the piano sequence, stay for the everything else.
Okay.
You know, because it's got some damn good acting, and I don't know, and it's got other people in it too, like Jennifer Tilly's in it in a very small role that I love. So that's all I'll say. Anyway, that's my, I guess, 9. I don't know. I didn't really rank them, so 999.
I'm going to continue with the nighttime theme.
Ooh, okay.
And I didn't even intend to, but at number 8, I have The Night Before.
Oh, okay. Haven't seen it.
With Seth Rogen, Anthony Mackie, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Right.
Which in that I don't know what kind of renaissance you would want to call it, but you know, that sort of post Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson, you know, Vince Vaughn era, Farrell, and we started transitioning into a Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen, you know, James Franco era, you know, them dominating the comedy scene with Superbad, Knocked Up, and 40-Year-Old Virgin, and all that stuff, and
sure.
And when Point Grey, you know, when Seth Rogen had his own production company, started making all this stuff. I feel like it's only been a few years. Like, it wasn't a huge hit, and I didn't love it, but I liked it. And the thing is, I just watch it every year, and it just makes me feel good. And it just, a movie doesn't have to be a classic; it just needs to be good. And then if it just comforts you, and then like every year, it just sort of became like a little classic for me. And it's just for me. Like I don't like Tracy didn't fall in love with it and watch it every year. It's just something I usually watch by myself. Usually like the week before Christmas, so usually like at 10 p.m. and I just sort of have my alone time with it. And it, I feel, I don't want to say it's underrated. I feel like more people need to get into it. Not like I'm gatekeeping it, but like it's just worth saying that like it's been a few years and I feel like it's never really taken off. Yeah. And I think if you haven't watched it, you're not going to be blown away, but I think you're going to have a really good goddamn time. But there's a reason why, like, you know, Superbad or Pineapple Express are fucking beloved, and I get it.
Right.
But I really, really connect to the story of these like 3 friends. You know, it probably also has to do with the fact that I've been watching it so much as I transition into my late 30s and into being my 40s, because it is about, it's like the last night that these people who've been doing the same thing every night. You said you haven't seen it, right?
No.
Long time ago, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's. I say it like I watch it every year, and then like I forget fucking every year. I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character like loses his parents. So as boys, his 2 friends always make sure that he's not alone on Christmas, and they've carried it through their 20s. And this is like, look, one of them is becoming a professional footballer, doesn't have football player, doesn't have a lot of time. Seth Rogen's family is like really starting to grow. Like, we can't do this every year. So this is like their final night of doing it at Christmas. But it has everything to do with the transitioning from boyhood to manhood sort of thing, and responsibilities, and trying to keep in touch with your friends, and how do you stay friends when like you're becoming a father and shit, and and the dependency of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. Like it's kind of like Gary King in The World's End, of like needing to hold on to his youth. Like he needs that safety net. And there's a lot of like relationship baggage that like it's, and again, they also go on kind of like Eyes Wide Shut. They go through an odyssey through New York City that evening. The whole goal is that there is a really, really, really exclusive private party that happens every year that they've never gotten to get into. And this year they got like the passes to get in, and all the bullshit it takes them to get to this party, and all the little baggage they have to overcome that night. It's great that Seth Rogen's character is Jewish, and he's got his Christmas sweater with the fucking Star of David on it. I won't ruin any of the jokes. There's some great, also, I will not ruin, but I will say this. Michael Shannon's in it.
Mm.
And he's fucking hilarious in it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's hilarious by playing it like so grim and so serious because he's so good at that.
Yes.
But between this and Knives Out, there's two different directors who figured out Michael Shannon's fucking funny. Like, yeah, he's great at playing the bad guy, but give him funny shit to say and do.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Night Before is charming.
Nice.
And it's sweet and it makes me laugh. And if you like, also, there's a lot of drugs that happen in it. So I don't know if it counts as like a stoner comedy, but it's produced by Seth Rogen. So what do you think?
Right.
But
Okay.
it's just a charm, man. But I've really, it's like a little mac and cheese comfort blanket that I've started to watch every year now.
Oh, okay, cool. Now I remember. I didn't remember it by name, obviously, but I do remember being in a theater and seeing a trailer for it and thinking, "Oh, that'd be fun to check out," and then I just never followed up.
I don't think anybody did. I don't have anyone I could like talk about it with. Like,
yeah,
it's just really like it feels like it's my movie for me to watch.
That's kind of sweet too, though. I mean, in a hipster kind of way, a very hipster Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So my next one is going to be kind of I'll have to qualify it because it has Christmas in it. It is not necessarily a Christmas movie, but this is the thing. I added it to the list because it's enough of a Christmas movie that the Egyptian Theater, before the COVID lockdown and everything like that, every year would host screenings of it in December for everybody to come and celebrate. And we always kind of felt the Christmas in the Christmas sequence, shall we say. But it's like right smack in the middle of the movie. But the whole movie is about, shall we say, bonds between guardian and child. And it's I'm talking like it's so serious, but it's a movie called Auntie Mame from 1958. Yeah. Starring Rosalind Russell. And she had made the role infamous in the play version earlier, and then when they made the movie, of course, they put her in it, and a lot of it does feel just kind of like a filmed play, and it's not bad. It's actually one of the few situations where they do that and it works. You're just kind of like, oh, I'm so glad, because it feels like I'm watching the thing that everybody went mad for when it was going on stage. And she's amazing, and the Christmas sequence in and of itself, like this isn't really spoilers, but she's kind of down on her luck. She's been wealthy up until now, and then the depression hits, in the 30s, after the stock market crash, and she loses everything. So she has to go work at Macy's, and she ends up meeting this Southern gentleman, but she doesn't know how to write a ticket. She only knows how to write COD orders. So he tries to help. So he tries to help her, and she ends up getting fired. And then she goes home, and her little adopted son, who's really her nephew, Patrick, has like painted a Picasso for her on his own in black and blue, because he's cultured because of her and he knows about Picasso's black and blue period. So he paints her a black and blue Santa. And basically, like, she kind of has like a little bit of a breakdown until her servants, who are really loyal to her, end up paying up the butcher bill. They give her a stack of receipts, and they paid up her butcher bill, and paid something else too. I guess the grocer, and they're going to be paid through for like months. So they're going to go into the next year not being hungry, and they're going to be okay. They're going to stick with her even though she can't pay them, and they even sing Christmas carols together. And then she just kind of breaks down again, and it's just like this family kind of bonding together, like being with each other. And I'm not going to spoil the end of the sequence, but it does take an upturn. Let's just put it that way. And then the movie goes on. But I don't know. It's everything that like you're told you're supposed to experience. We're raised to experience, like in the Christmas spirit and everything like that exists throughout this movie. So, and especially, I think it also just speaks. I mean, a large component of that audience who would attend those screenings every year were, like me, gay men. and we just sit there and applaud the lines we all know are coming, and sometimes we'd even say them in complete unison with each other. But always, just a cooperative crowd. Like we were all there to just kind of enjoy this movie we probably all saw separately, and now we're together. And it's nice. I don't know. It's just like a real bonding audience situation. And because I couldn't attend a screening, I've already watched it with my mother, who loves it also. And still same feeling, like we're sitting there crying and laughing and going, look at that, and oh no, look who's coming. It's just a great experience.
I've never seen it.
You should check it out. I've seen
Mame.
Oh, with
like
Lucy?
The musical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
It's very similar and very different.
So long ago, I could barely remember it.
Okay, well, movie weekend. Put it on the list.
Okay. The fucking Elf.
Yeah, okay. Tit for tat. I'm down.
So the thing is, I have a person outside of this video, a very long list of movies I like to watch at Christmas.
Yeah.
And it was hard for me to not thematically, but to find like this 10.
Okay.
Because there are clearly others that I would put later. And I'm actually going to take one that I would have put later and reinsert it into this list.
Oh. And
I have to figure out which one I want to bump out. But I'm going to keep my theme going.
Okay.
Of the nightlife.
Oh.
In New York.
Yeah.
On an Odyssey. And the added thing that connects to the last one about Friends.
Okay.
A Very Harold and Kumar Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Which I do watch since it's come out, not every Christmas, but like maybe every other.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I think so. I know I saw the first two. I feel like I saw the third one. I don't really remember though.
It's weird because as a trilogy, like each one of the movies is very different. And it's the same writers who wrote all three.
Right.
But like in a weird sort of way, like God, this is such a weird comparison. You probably but like all three Bill and Ted's are written by the same guy. And like Bogus Journey is definitely like, whoa, compared to one. And then three is like kind of sweeter.
Yeah.
And they all are tonally very different, but they're all consistent. And this one, like, I like the first one. It's a hoot.
Mm-hmm.
But the second one, I'm not saying it's highbrow, but it gets way more satirical about contemporary socio-political issues.
Okay.
So I found the second one to be like extra funny just because there's a lot of humor about Gitmo and Bush and,
Yeah.
And then the third one, much like Bill and Ted, how there was in real life a time jump, like Harold and Kumar 1 and 2 are like the day after each other. And then this one's so much time has passed. They're not even friends anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it turns out I have a thing about nighttime in New York Christmas movies and going on an adventure to get a thing. And then learning, and then that adventure just being a giant fucking mess, and then you learn something at the end. But I remember at the time it came out, I was like, wait, first of all, they're not friends. I don't like this. I don't like how drastically this isn't. But I've come to appreciate, but like as a Christmas movie, it's a story about two guys who fell out of touch.
Yeah.
Who not only get back in touch, but also like kind of forgive each other for their bullshit. But also Kumar has to grow up in this movie in the same way Joseph Gordon-Levitt has to grow up. Or in the same way Tom Cruise needs to get over his petty, jealous bullshit that he just made up. Like they all need to learn something in New York that night. And I like Kumar's journey in the movie. While also just being, stupid fucking stoner movie in the middle of New York. And
right.
No, but I think it succeeds as a comedy. I think it succeeds as a Christmas movie, surprisingly. I don't know how many other franchises do this. I don't know why they would do that, but like there's Friday, next Friday, and then all of a sudden they're like, and fuck it, Friday After Next is a Christmas movie. And you're like, all right. And now Harold and Kumar was like, fuck it, it's a Christmas movie. And 9 times out of 10, that's gonna suck.
Iron Man 3.
Well, there you go. This one's fun and all its outlandish shit. Like he gets the shotgun and then like Santa Claus crashes and they shot Santa out of the sky. There's this there's the claymation sequence.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of fun with when they made the first two movies, Neil Patrick Harris wasn't so blatantly out, or at least known to the public for being gay.
Mm-hmm.
So he's hetero and he's snorting lines of coke off strippers' asses and stuff. And I like that in this one, he's gay.
Mm-hmm.
And then behind closed doors, he's like, no, I'm really straight, and this is all just an act. But that scene,
sloppy bitch.
yeah. Oh, but that scene has not aged well, because he like borderline
No.
almost rapes a woman, and it's like,
I remember.
That's the only part of the movie that I go, like, I feel like if you made this script literally like 2 or 3 years later, you wouldn't have included this. This was like the last of like the bad 80s and 90s, like horrible men type humor that hasn't aged well. But it was like 2012. Oh my God.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway.
In spite of that.
In spite of the almost rape scene, Kumar grows a lot. It's a fun time.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think I've seen it, but I think I saw it like once, and I think by that time I was just kind of like, okay, I don't think this is really my franchise, but I'm glad I watched it. I like Hal Penn. I like John Cho. I mean,
they're great, and it almost works better as an isolated Christmas movie than it does as the third of a trilogy.
Ah, okay. Maybe one day I'll give it a shot again. My next one, I'm gonna leave New York. I'm gonna jump across the country to Los Angeles. Because my next movie is Mixed Nuts from 1994. Yes!
It's not on my list, but I'm glad it's on here to be discussed. Yeah.
Oh, good. Because, okay, I think people know about it, but I feel like people still find out about it every year. Because I certainly didn't see it in the theaters. I don't think it did very, very well in the theaters. Actually, I don't know. But Nora Ephron co-wrote it with, I believe, her sister, and directed it. And it's based on a French farce, and the cast is fucking stellar. You've got your Steve Martin, your Madeline Kahn, Queen Madeline. You've got Rita Wilson. You've got Anthony LaPaglia. You've got Juliette Lewis. You've got Adam Sandler.
That was my gateway.
Yeah.
Into that movie. Like, I like Steve Martin, and I already like Anthony LaPaglia, but I was like, Adam Sandler's in this? I gotta check this out.
Liev Schreiber as a transvestite. I don't know if they never had an exact word to describe whether it's drag queen or trans woman or whatever.
In the 90s, it was just guy in dress.
It was all just kind of guy dressed up. But I remember when I was younger, I remember even then being kind of annoyed that, because I knew Liev Schreiber was a straight man, and I remembered being kind of annoyed that a straight man was playing this role. As I've grown older, I've grown to really appreciate how much he put into his performance, though. In retrospect, there are a lot of people who might have played a role like that and just kind of kept like leaning into the joke of like, hey, I'm a guy dressed as a woman. And he played it like an actual human being who has emotions and who doesn't belong in this holiday any more than any of the other people. So love him. I feel like I'm missing somebody. I mean, and in smaller roles, there's like Gary Shandling and Jolie Fisher and other famous people on the phone who call in because they're suicidal. Stephen Wright is in a really, really small role. And it's just kind of this remarkable little thing. I always look forward to the sequence where Madeline Kahn gets shut up in the elevator. She's got all the toys that she was bringing to her dead husband's sister's Christmas. And she's trying to get everybody's attention in the building. So she blows this little toy trumpet. It doesn't work. So she gets a little kind of Barbie radio machine and starts playing it. And then she starts rapping. Like, stuck in the elevator, catch me please. Come to get me on Christmas Eve. Mrs. Munchnick, that's her name. Don't say nothing. Oh. And she starts again. And she just... all Madeline Kahn has to do is just kind of like call for help, just like help, and I'm on the floor. So mixed nuts.
God, I haven't seen that movie
and it does have
forever.
and it does have a really, really happy ending too. So, it's worth it. But again, there is, shall we say, an attempted suicide. Their work at a suicide hotline, but there is an attempted suicide that is treated with, some seriousness, and somebody has to talk someone down. And the way this character does is by saying, you're upset because it's Christmas, and everything that you don't have feels so much bigger. The whole inside just feels so much wider at Christmas. Being lonely is so much lonelier at Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
But tomorrow's going to be another day, and you're going to it's just beautiful. Like, I mean, if you are feeling low, it'll lift your spirits because it's fucking funny, but also like lift your spirits because it's going to speak to that part of you that needs to know you're not alone, and this is this too shall pass kind of thing. So that's why I put it on my list.
And that cast,
God, it's just
yeah. And I remember it didn't do well. I was very aware of it, but like, yeah, it was definitely, I didn't see it in theaters. I remember renting it.
It was also of an era where I think a lot of Christmas movies weren't doing terribly well, and then people would find them on television or through VHS.
Yeah.
Back in the day of VHS, and that's how they would kind of like become these mainstays. They would find their way into people's homes and then into people's traditions, and it's one of those movies, certainly.
And it's also of a bygone era of if you made that movie now, it would be an independent production.
Yeah.
Or the independent arm of a studio.
Yeah.
Which I don't even think they even have those anymore. But this was back when a major studio would spend like what, 10-15 million dollars on this little drama concept.
Yeah.
This movie would never get made today. And if it did, it'd be like for streaming because
yeah.
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 I think that was a Sony Columbia TriStar release.
Yeah, I think it is Columbia TriStar. I remember the lady with the thing right before the great soundtrack too. Like every kind of like Christmas carol you can think of, but all like like zhuzhed up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. It's just that's the opening credits, and you're just watching Steve Martin ride his bike along the shore, and there's like a snowman made out of sand on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And a guy who's like suffering sunstroke dressed up like a candy cane just laying on a bench as he rides by. It's funny. Anyway, I love that movie, so that's mine. How about you?
I'm coming in at number 6 here.
Okay.
I think we watched this at a movie weekend a few years ago. We do movie weekends.
Yeah.
This movie makes me so happy. Arthur Christmas.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It's much was made of Aardman's first CG movie, Flushed Away, which it's fine, but I don't think Flushed Away is anyone's favorite. But then no one talks about their second CGI movie. I feel like again, this movie needs more attention. It did okay in theaters. Didn't light the world on fire, and unfortunately no one talks about it, but this movie warms my icy heart. It's funny, it's sweet. If you don't know out there, like Bill Nye is Santa Claus, and like his operation is so high tech, like his like military older son supervises their fancy UFO looking sleigh, and all the elves are like at the fucking NASA headquarters in the North Pole. It's all very efficient. And James McAvoy is Arthur, the other son, who operationally doesn't have it, but he's got the fucking heart. And he reads all the fucking the letters to Santa, and he knows what every little kid wants, and he has the spirit of Christmas in him. Anyway, the story is the Christmas Eve deliveries happen, and one gift didn't get delivered, and he insists like it needs to be delivered, and he and his grandpa, former Santa Claus. Like they go on the adventure with this little Irish elf. And the what's the word I'm looking for? Not ragtag, but the underdogs who shouldn't be out delivering a present, and all the things that go wrong. But the passion that he has, that there's gonna be one fucking girl that doesn't get a present. She's gonna not believe in Santa. This is gonna ruin everything for this one girl. We have to do it. It's Saving Private Ryan for fucking animated Christmas. It's one life. We have to do this for one life, you know. But
okay.
I honestly, like, James McAvoy sells me so much. Like, you might laugh at me for me saying it's one of his best performances, but he sells me the fuck out of Arthur Christmas.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh my god, that movie's so sweet, so charming. It's so British, but it's got all the spit and polish of like a major studio's 3D animation.
Yeah.
My god, it's so sweet.
Polish and spit.
Oh my god, Arthur Christmas is so good. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's so fucking sweet and funny and good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I haven't seen
it
it since our movie weekend too. I should watch it again. Thanks
for
reminding me. Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
That's another. I remember one year it was like Christmas Eve at like 11 p.m. and like everyone had gone to bed. I'm like, it's just gonna be me and Arthur Christmas, and I was just like, I feel so happy right now alone. I'm so happy. I fucking love this movie. Watch it alone if you're like at 11 p.m. You'll feel so good. You'll feel so happy. I mean, see it with friends. I saw it with friends too, but you know.
Yeah. That's great.
Charm City, man.
Yeah. Okay. My next one, you mentioned British, so I'm gonna go with one that I actually didn't think about because I haven't watched it in a long time. I have it committed to memory, but now it's like, well, I have to watch this before Christmas hits because it, again, just satisfies everything. And it's I don't know if it's a common choice among people, but it's Bridget Jones's Diary.
Oh, right. Eddie, good for you.
Right, because it opens with the snow and her marching up with the Christmases and everything. And it's also just like anytime she's like with her friends too, like anytime they're all together in the group, there's just this wonderful like amber hue, like everything is just so kind of like warm and ingratiating. And when it isn't, it's like this stark like white or gray background that she's standing against where something is going horribly wrong. But just watching, it's one of Renee Zellweger's like greatest still to this day, like greatest, most seamless performances. And again, the cast like Hugh Grant and Colin Farrell. Firth. I always mix them the fuck up.
Yeah. With the horrible Christmas jumper that he has to wear at the party.
Yes, his reindeer jumper. Yeah. And I still, to this day, every now and then, if I see a guy who I'm into and it's around Christmas, I'll say the Bridget Jones thing she says when she sees him from behind before she sees the reindeer on his jumper, which just goes, ding dong. Maybe mom had got it right. But also just, okay, because it ends in Christmas and because you get that wonderful kind of Christmas atmosphere, it satisfies an appetite that I didn't know I had, that I only really kind of discovered this year that I actually do have for like those kind of shitty, let's say formulaic, kind of like Hallmark, Fox Family, Lifetime,
Hallmark.
Hallmark, like
Lifetime movies,
Christmas rom-coms, Netflix now too, like every streaming platform has their own now. And I watched 3 that don't make my list because I just watched them this year with Bonnie, and we thought we were going to laugh our asses off and just like talk shit like as we watched all 3 of them. We ended up picking 3 ones that we really, really enjoyed. So I'm just like, I guess I do like rom-coms, as long as I know what I'm getting myself into and as long as they're the right one. Like I don't mind a formula, but you gotta handle it right, and the 2 people who I'm rooting for need to have fucking chemistry, and if you've got that, I'm all on board, and Bridget Jones, Renee Zellweger's chemistry with Hugh Grant and her chemistry with Colin Firth, vastly different, but like exactly what those characters need to be for her. And the fact that, again, like what I was saying before, it's around Christmas time when he stands there and tells her like that he likes her, and she says like, except for all of the things that, because he gives her a laundry list of things about her that are wrong and that are bad and that are detrimental to her character. And he says, but in spite of, appearances, I like you. And she's like, in spite of this and that. And then he's like, no, I like you very much, just as you are.
Right?
And for the rest of the movie reverberates off of those words.
Especially when she's having dinner with her friends and then he stops by and then her buddy does the toasts.
Yes, Bridget, and he says, to Bridget, who cannot cook, but who we love, just as she is.
Yep, and that fucking look.
Just as she is. And then, Colin Firth is looking at her.
No, I was saying more like her, like when he says it, like
look at them.
He's a cheeky bitch, and she's like,
yeah. But then I love the look because Colin Firth, she's the only thing that exists in that room at that particular moment, and it's like, fuck, this movie's made. And then and
then Hugh Grant shows up.
Yes, and just like fuck, and he says, "I thought you'd be alone." What an idiot! It's like, yeah, you're a fucking idiot. Oh, I get so fired up with this movie, and then. Finally, the end is just kind of perfect. All I will say is there's a kiss in the snow. Yeah, it's perfect.
But it's also funny because she's running through London with no pants on.
Her tiny knickers. Were they tiger striped or leopard print? I can't remember, but they were horrible. She just got that and a sweater on. Oh, it makes me feel so good. So that's one that I was really, really glad. I was really grateful to remember.
That's always been one of my personally hotly debated, is it or isn't a Christmas movie?
Right.
But it certainly starts and ends at Christmas.
Mm-hmm. And I feel it carries enough of spirit. Like it fills me with warmth. It makes me like, I love the relationship she has with her friends. I love the amends between her parents after they go through what they go through. I mean, Jesus Christ.
When she dates that tan.
Oh God.
Fucking the TV. Yeah.
The truth is, up close, he was almost purple. You were always such a lovely color. They're amazing. God, everybody in that movie it's just a bevy of like incredible English actors, and Renee Zellweger just being an incredible English character, a beloved English character from the column that she had occupied prior to the movie being made. And there was quite a backlash when it was announced that she was going to be playing it because it was such a beloved British character. Then she did it, and everybody was like, I like her. She made 2 sequels. I didn't really like the second one, and I haven't seen the third one still. But the first movie can't be touched. So
it's the third one's like it's slightly better because the director of the first came back to do the third.
Oh, I like her. Okay.
But Richard Curtis only wrote the first one. And that's I hate to say it, but that's like the main ingredient. You don't have that. You don't have a fucking movie.
Right.
Like you could try, but that is good luck trying to follow up a Richard Curtis movie. Do a sequel. But it's no secret to anyone who knows me how much I love Notting Hill, 40s and Funeral, Bridget Jones, Love Actually, like Richard Curtis, Mr. Bean. Richard Curtis fucking has me. He's written one of the best Doctor Who episodes ever. So
cool.
Even though I did not put Love Actually in this list this year, I'm glad that Richard Curtis still made it in there.
Yes, as so am I with this movie. I'm not a team.
I know.
Actually, I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. We're not here to talk about you not liking one of the best movies ever made. It's fine.
I haven't seen it in over 10 years. Maybe I'm due for a rewatch.
I watch it every goddamn year. But my number, let's see. I'm going to change my numbers around. I'm going to follow that animated one up with another one. Have you seen fucking Klaus?
Klaus?
It only came out like 2 or 3 years ago.
No.
On Netflix.
No.
Oh, instant classic.
No. Okay.
It's probably the most recent release I have on here.
Okay.
It is so worth your time. even just from a technical standpoint, because the animation is stunning.
Okay.
And it's in an age at the time where, I mean, 3D animation has just become the norm.
Yeah.
For someone to do 2D animation. Okay, let me put it this way, right? Remember how like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was like
Mm.
3D animated?
Yeah.
They did so many classic 2D and stop motion tricks and like
Mm-hmm.
2D textures on 3D figures.
Yeah.
This is a 2D animated movie, but use like innovative shading lighting techniques to make it look 3D, but it's all 2D.
Okay.
It's fucking stunning. So as an animation nerd alone, you have to see Klaus. On top of the fact that it is a very winning story.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Schwartzman is the voice of the main character, but it's not trying to be like telling the definitive version of how this all happened, but it is like a take of like a guy, he's like a rich spoiled, he's almost like a David Spade type of like, I'm a rich shitty asshole and my daddy stopped paying for all my shit. Like he has to go get like a real job. He gets sent to this like remote little like seaside snowy island, and he works for the post office. And it's about how he can find, if they deliver like enough mail and he hits like a certain quota, he can be fucking done with it. And there's like this like big burly man who like, you know, he's a toy maker.
Yeah.
He stopped making toys, but he figures out like a system of like, well, we deliver a toy to this person, and you see how like the origins and the birth of Santa Claus as a myth comes from, well, the kids in the village write a letter, then they get a toy delivered, and everything is a selfish reason for him to get the post office fucking going, but it helps make the man, I'm not going to tell you all details, but it fills a hole. And then this guy also learns that bringing joy to kids, it's not about him getting off the island, and you start to see all the beats of like where the myth of this and the myth of that and how a sleigh gets involved.
Yeah.
You know, and how the idea of, it's a cute origin story of where the myth of Santa comes from. I don't want to tell you anything more. I don't want to ruin it. For those who've seen it, you know, because everyone who's seen it instantly fucking loves it. I don't know anyone who doesn't like Klaus. I know a few people who found Jason Schwartzman's character a little annoying at the beginning, but like he has to grow. It's fine.
Okay.
Just Joan Cusack's one of the, like there's so many good people in it. J.K. Simmons is one of the voice actors in it. Just like honestly, like I don't know what you're doing tomorrow. Go on Netflix and watch fucking Klaus.
Okay.
It's if you like, if we talk in 10 years, it might be like one of my new favorite top 5 Christmas movies. It just gets everything so fucking right.
Oh, nice.
It gets everything so fucking right. Go watch Klaus.
Yeah. Yay. Okay, cool. I hadn't even heard of it, so cool. I'll do my most recent one, I think, on this list. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And this one is probably pretty a pretty unconventional choice, but because I do watch it, I do have to admit I watch it when it's not Christmas. But I just remembered today that it's a Christmas movie, and I was just like, oh, I have to watch that before being the end of this week. And it was Shazam.
Oh yeah, it is a Christmas movie. At the little Christmas carnival at the end and all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's Christmas like throughout, like, and the fact that, and there's Christmas decorations everywhere, and of course, you know, that can just be like a thing. But because it's like, okay, I mean, if you want to like put yourself in like kind of like a hopeful spirit and like a joyful spirit, like that movie's gonna do it. Like, I mean, as far as like the emphasis on familial bonds and how you define what a family means to you,
right?
And
like
then,
his birth mother versus who he's with now, and
and
fucking Freddy's a better member of his family than his actual mom. Yeah.
God. And then I'm gonna start. I'll
It's
start.
so good.
And and also just like, okay, because the thing that gets me the most, I'm gonna cry.
Do it.
And I don't want to spoil anything, but I mean, okay, because it's everything that happens like in the last act. And I'm not going to give a spoiler because I know it, unfortunately, it also did not the best business when it got released. It did worse than Justice League at the box office in its initial release. I think it's now moved into more people's minds through like streaming and whatnot. And now that Shazam Fury of the Gods is coming up, like maybe more people are going to watch it because of that. I don't know.
Well, and also maybe because of Black Adam.
Yeah, maybe
they will go check out what's this all about. But
yeah, right. I hope so.
I mean,
because
I feel like everyone I know saw it, but also everyone I know is a fucking nerd. So like,
right, exactly.
I don't know how. Yeah, it did decent business, but it wasn't.
It was fine. I mean, but
Yeah.
it didn't make like the money that
it didn't do like, Marvel business. Yeah,
and I was like, guys, like, come on, like, go see this one. Oh my God, you don't know what you're missing. And so I won't give spoilers, but I'll just say, because you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. The moment where there is a kind of grand transition, shall we say, and you see something kind of fall onto the ground, and then through the mist you see some beams of light. Oh my God, I'm done. I'm weeping. And then at the very, very end, let's just say there's a group around a table. They all put their hands. You know what I'm talking about.
Because they usually, if I remember correctly, they usually do the prayer and he doesn't like ever join, right?
Right.
Like, he's shitty about it. But then at the end, he's
something
not
happens.
Shitty. Yeah.
And it's and then it's just this. I actually saw the alternate ending, and I'm glad that they didn't do it because the way it ends is perfect. It's all it's all about family, and I'm going to be so happy. That's another one I'm going to watch this week, and I'm just going to be so happy when I'm done watching it. Oh my God,
I might watch it tonight when we're done with this because that sounds like a really good time right now.
I know. So that's mine.
2 DC Christmas movies on this fucking discussion too.
Yeah. That's me.
Have you ever seen a movie called Rare Exports?
Oh, what is that?
I gotta look up what country it's from.
Okay.
I want to say Norwegian, but I'm probably wrong. What the fucking? It's Finnish. It's Finnish, so Finland, I guess. It's always streaming on something because I don't own it, but I've watched it like 2 or 3 times in the last 6 or 7 years. But it is like, if I remember correctly, they're on the border of Russia. Yeah. It's Finland. Do you remember when we were flying to Russia and like you were close to Helsinki and like
I remember that.
Yeah, I think we were in like Finland for a layover or something.
We were.
It's a strange movie, so you got to see it just because I love me a big swing of an idea. Because here's what's great about it. Visually, it's not like some big swing. It's not like an Edgar Wright movie. It's not, it's shot dead serious about this small community that live at the base of a mountain. And I think it's either a British or American company that's digging into the mountain.
Yeah.
And I think they're reindeer farmers. I haven't seen it like in 3 years. But the big thing is like the little boy sees like footprints outside of his window. And they eventually find like this old man and they're like, holy shit, like we caught Santa, like Santa's real. And they're blasting up in that mountain. And ultimately the story leads to, I don't want to ruin everything for you, but the idea of Santa's real,
Mhm.
and the children have been taken from the neighboring houses.
Hmm.
It almost plays on horror beats
Okay.
without being a full-blown horror. But like this old man, they found that Santa, he is very like primal, and it's like the myth of Santa comes from. I don't want to tell you where the third act goes, nor do I want to tell you how absurd the resolution is.
Yeah.
But it's, if I described it to you, you'd say, "What the fuck?" And then the fact that they shoot it and depict it, and you go,
Yeah.
"Holy shit, this movie's got balls." Because I would never commit to filming this. It's
Mm.
stars a child. It's not a child's movie.
Yeah.
Um, it's definitely genre. If you like horror,
Mhm.
and if you like it, just, oh my god, fuck, I can't. Yeah, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody out there who hasn't seen it. But everybody I've told to see it ends up liking it, and even if you don't like foreign language films, there is some English in it.
Mhm.
But just trust me, it's full of big bold ideas. It's really creative. It's a really weird idea for a Christmas movie, and it's such a satisfying approach to it. It's really cool. And I
Okay.
remember it had buzz when it first came out. It had like festival buzz, and I feel like that has waned a little bit since. And I wish it
Hmm.
still had that momentum because it's such a creative movie.
Okay. Haven't heard of it. So okay.
Yeah, I think it's on
Gotta check it out.
Prime. I don't know.
One of them. Okay.
But I mean, if there's any takeaway from this movie, Ed, I mean, from this discussion, Klaus for sure. But if you're in the mood for like foreign film, not strange in an off-putting way, but just
Yeah.
left of center,
Yeah.
and you're kind of in the mood for like kind of horror, but not.
Mhm.
You gotta watch Rare Exports. I promise you. Even if you only watch it once, you're like, I've never really seen anything like that before. I
Okay.
guarantee you're gonna have a good time. And the main kid is a fantastic little actor.
Nice.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
What number is
Eric,
that for you?
uh,
Did we lose track?
I'm going all out of order. So hold on. That was 4.
Okay, so you
I
have
have
3 more.
left.
So I have 4 left. I just want to make sure because I had multiple ones and I thought I crossed out all of them. I'm just making sure I'm okay. Cool. Yeah, I think we're a mess.
Rare Exports.
Okay.
Go see it.
Nice. Okay. Off the heels of that, since you're talking about things that are horror adjacent, I think I'm going to take a turn in my list because I do. Some days you got to watch a full-on horror movie um, in this holiday season, just to kind of get your. I don't know if it's to get your aggression out or just to kind of like let the pendulum swing in the opposite direction so you can feel somewhat balanced instead of saturated with just like holiday cheer
Happy,
and everything.
and cheer and
Yeah. And the first one I'm going to name is Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984.
that
which
is also on my list.
Hey, yay. Okay, cool. Then I won't go
Cross
in.
that off.
Which you showed me
Yes.
actually some years ago.
And then we discussed
Yes.
also, but yeah.
Yeah, we discussed the whole
But I
franchise.
showed you before we discussed it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. At a movie weekend. But so if you want to hear the in-depth thing, just watch the pod that we did on the whole franchise. That was an experience. But the first movie, I'll just say, like, what holds truest for me as far as like holiday viewing is, again, sometimes the holiday season is about trauma, and that's what our main character goes through is some major trauma. And what I like about it is the movie. I don't know how the movie so successfully juggles like some really, really intense melodrama with some really kind of like lighthearted humor.
Yeah, some kind of goofball energy.
Yes, and it zigzags so often, and then like veers like even from the melodrama into full-on horror slasher, like what have you. But the thing is, what never escapes me is either just kind of the joy at the humor that the movie is providing me with. I'm not laughing at the movie, I'm laughing at what the movie is giving me, is offering. Like, this is my content, this is what it's supposed to make you do.
It's supposed to be funny when they're going downhill and he goes punish and chops them in their head. Their head rolls down.
or I mean, maybe there's a moment or two that maybe, I don't know if they were intended, but just Mr. Seal. It's still a great laugh for me. Oh God, if you haven't seen the movie, watch it, it's great. But what I also love is when I'm not laughing, the thing that carries me through the horror and the because it could be exploitative, it could be perceived, and if somebody thought it was, I wouldn't tell them you're wrong, but I would say the thing that carries me through it is I always go back to the pathos of the main character. It doesn't feel like it's exploitative because I'm actually connected with a character who's moving through this, trying to make some sense out of all of the abuse he suffered since like almost at like first memory. So he just wants to be a good boy, it's almost like that Norman Bates syndrome, and I think I said that in the pod. It's just a hot guy trying to do right and just failing miserably over and over again, but he's struggling so hard, and I get very angry about the ending. So but in a great way, because it meant something to me. So that's on my list. You got any you got anything to say also, or are you gonna wait?
I mean, no, it's just I'll jump in now on it. But we said so much on the other one, but it just, I'm with you. My remaining three are all blatantly horror movies, and I usually save them to closer to Christmas, because it turns out that's also what I do. Is I get my Love Actuallys, I get my Elves and my Christmas Stories, Christmas Vacations, and then once we're really there, now it's time for the blood to flow.
And there's something.
It's just. I mean, more so than any other subgenre of horror, it's the most fun because of the contrast of spirit of the season and then murder. It just makes it that much better. And so, I mean, compared to maybe other movies on this list that are horror based, to literally have just a dude dressed as Santa with an axe chop people up.
Yeah. Also, there's something exquisite that maybe non-horror fans, or people who aren't horror fans, wouldn't get. There's something immensely satisfying about having the tree to my right and the screen to my left, and just watching a horror movie that is taking the season into account and giving me like, well, here's your content for this time. And I don't know. There's some, I can't explain it beyond that. It's
And also, specifically, that movie for me isn't just, the second half where he's a grown man and he's snappy, he's killing people, but also the first half, like, I'm a piece of shit, I guess. But, like, the idea of like all the horrible things keep happening to this little boy, it just, between like his grandpa and then the assault on his family. Like, and then he's like, everything just horrible about Christmas keeps happening to him.
And then the abusive nun, and then
and it makes me laugh, Eddie.
You sick fuck.
It's all these things that orbit Christmas for this boy. It just
but I do. But the whole movie isn't like bent on you completely laughing at it. I do enjoy the pathos as well. It all kind of goes hand in hand with the holiday, and it's when I need it. And I have not watched it yet, and I will, because I like to wait. Most of these, the reason why they made this list is because they're a little special. It's the week of Christmas. I want to, watch them in anticipation as we're filming. Week of Christmas. So
since technically you went and then I went with the same one.
Yeah.
To you.
Okay. I'm wondering if you're going to have these too.
I'm wondering as well. I really am.
Let's just put it this way. I screened the naughty cut
There we go.
of Krampus
So I
for
will
my
now
mom.
take that off the list.
I
I haven't seen the naughty cut yet. I don't have the naughty cut yet. I'm hoping I might by Christmas time.
Ooh, okay. Fingers crossed.
Hmm.
But I will say, because I don't want to spoil anything for you, I will say, it's. Do you mind about like time, like time signature, like how much longer it is than the theatrical release? Do you mind if I say that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. It's 4 minutes, and I can kind of, yeah, I know exactly where the bulk of it is, and I really, really like it. And because I never watched the deleted scenes, I don't know if it was just like deleted stuff they put in. I don't know if he took all the deleted scenes and put them back in. I don't know. I have to go back and do my research, and you haven't seen it, so it's good that I don't know,
Yeah.
because that way I can't spoil it for you. That said, I really appreciate what was put back in. It and I love also just like that movie.
Oh.
That one I was lucky enough to see in the theaters. I went with my sister. We had a perfect audience, because I just remember they fell apart when Conchata Farrell, as the aunt, is sitting there talking about the squirrels, says maybe they're hiding there, maybe they're playing with their nuts, and everybody fell apart laughing, and I was like, we're with the right crowd. They appreciate this movie, because also they weren't like that for the whole movie. Like, the more serious points, we are all very respectful and quiet and absorbing it and stuff. But I just love that Michael Dougherty made another kind of like disaster of your own making holiday movie. And I really, really like that I got to show it to my mom, and that she really, really liked it. Actually, she really got into, I guess, the morality, not like a highfalutin kind of morality, but just like when Max tears up the letter and throws it out, my mom had the perfect reaction. She just went, no, oh, and I'm like, okay, this movie's gonna happen to you. Good.
Yes.
So yeah.
I obviously, it's on my list, and I own it, and I watch it every year at Christmas.
Yeah.
But the first time I'm not going to say I disliked it, but while I was watching it, I had to battle within myself to accept what I was watching, because I don't want to be some hipster who's like, well, I know everything about the real Krampus. But I just remember I was in second grade or third grade, and we had to do a report on, you had to pick a subject on Christmas stuff, whatever subject, and get into, I forget the specific assignment, but I found out about Krampus, and I went, what the fuck? And I researched, and I did like a whole report. There's this whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
There's a little goblin man that goes around with Santa.
Yeah.
Santa gives gifts to the good boys and girls, and this little fucker takes switches out and puts them. So if you're bad, you heard Santa get a lump of coal. No, this is a switch for your parents to beat you with. Holy shit! And that stayed with me, and I've always been kind of fascinated by the idea of Krampus. And the movie was called Krampus, but it's not Krampus.
No,
it's its own thing.
Yeah.
And I just sort of was like, oh, cool. I mean, it's doing its own thing. But it turns out I like the thing it's doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, just this whole idea of he's got minions and gingerbread men, and the fact that, he's not with Santa giving switches, but like he isolates this neighborhood, and this entirely new lore. The fact that he's wearing a Santa Claus man mask, and that you spend the whole movie and you never get to see Krampus. The mask never comes off.
Just
that's a bold, like it's like a Jason movie where like the mask doesn't come off and it's just the hockey mask. So like, I mean, it's this grotesque man face, but as far as the gleeful perversion of Christmas tropes, not tropes, but the decorations, the idea, the trappings of Christmas.
There you go. Yeah.
I like the perversion of that. The whole attic sequence,
Yes.
fucking
Oh
fantastic.
God. Jesus.
The snowmen showing up, you know, the
Oh.
and all the little, yeah, that's all well and good. But what's the two things that are great about the movie that I respect is that one, it doesn't it has a certain sense of restraint where it doesn't ever go overboard. It could have been goofier.
Yeah.
It could have been gorier. It
Yes.
could have gone for more shock, for more like Peter Jackson, Sam Raimi, like let's really get there with the blood and the energy and the zip and the pap. And I actually found that satisfying how restrained it was. It's a small tale. We're in a house. We never really go beyond this neighborhood. And two, that at the heart of it, more than that, I come to this movie to watch Adam Scott and Toni Collette and watch this family drama unfold. And they cast the fuck out of this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's a lot of family dynamics happening.
Yeah.
And that to me is the like the real meat of the movie. And how these people now have to deal with all this shit. So yeah, I there's a lot to chew on beyond just the fun of it all.
Yeah. Also, probably the darkest thing for me that happens in the entire movie is just watching that one elf kidnap the baby and just disappear into the night. Oh God. And I mean, again, just to link it back with with Silent Night, Deadly Night, I just remember the script, the thing that, I mean, there's a pretty violent flashback sequence that, you know, opens that movie. It ends up being violent. We don't know. We're being ushered into a world of violence. But once we are, the thing that I remember like really sent it over the moon for me was that there is a child present in the vicinity, a baby that is scream crying. And all I can think about is the like almost the irreparable trauma that's being done on a level that baby in that movie might not even be cognizant of. And but things have, I don't know why things happening to babies in in these dark Christmas movies. It just hits a button with me, and it I can't explain it. It's dark and it's horrible, and I will watch the fuck out of both of them every year.
You will watch the fuck out of the penguin's little clown taking the baby and saying, I don't know, it's the hideous penguin man. Just take the baby, just don't hurt me.
And then he just rises up. Anyway. Okay.
No, but also, I'm glad you mentioned the baby though, because throughout the whole movie, adults, kids, everyone gets taken out.
Yeah.
It doesn't pull its punches, but it also, for a movie where nothing's off limits as far as who lives or who dies, it doesn't have that malicious, well, nothing's off limits, which also in a weird way makes it hit more, that it does never go over the top with its gore energy, and that it has such a character-based focus. That those two things make it feel like there is a safety to this movie, and then it turns out there isn't. And that makes that work more. That's
true. Without having to go full gore. Yeah.
Grim fucking ending.
Yeah. But I was worried.
Time.
Yeah.
Every time I watch it, I just go, Jesus, that to me is haunting.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, I worried. I was so worried when I screened it for my mom. I was like, oh, is this going to turn her off? Like, I mean, she made it through the movie, and and it totally worked on her because spoilers for Krampus, everybody. When he wakes up and looks out the window and everything, and she's just like, oh, she thought it was all a dream and that he was okay. So when we find out that he isn't, and he gets the little bell, and she's like, what? Wait, she was right there with all the characters. And my sister and I are just looking at each other like, like, oh, is this, because we can hear everything happening. There's like, oh no, they remember. It's really a joy. If you've already seen it, but you have somebody close to you who you love, who you want to share it with, I highly recommend it. It's great, like, just to give it to someone and like watch them watch it. It's great. It's one of those experiences where it's great to like watch it. And I had forgotten about the very end, where like the very, very end, the last beat, where all the toys just kind of sweep in and then like rush toward you. Oh God. Yeah. Cause that still makes me jump. Like, I'm still like, to me, it's just the shot of the snow globes in general. That's creepy as fuck. But also, did you ever see the deleted,
the alternate ending?
I did see the alternate ending.
That's pretty much just the same, except it's not that everyone remembers. It's just like the little boy.
Yeah.
I love that they film both, because they're both.
Yeah.
But I think the theatrical is more haunting ultimately.
It's more gratifying too, because even though it is so kind of hopeless, I guess, at least
they have each other.
Misery loves company, and at least, so at least he's not. I think I'd be too bothered if Max was the only one who remembered it and was trapped forever with a happy family who would never hear.
That's almost creepier.
No, it's totally creepier, but in an unsettling way that I prefer seeing them all bonded together in this common purgatory. Right. So I mean, that's dark enough. That was dark enough. So for my next one, I suspect
this will be both of ours last ones, because I think
because you went first.
You have two more. I think I have one more.
Okay, so I'll do one and then we'll finish together.
With the
yes. Okay. My one sole one remaining that I have is a movie called Santa Claus. But mine is the Mystery Science Theater 3000 edition that was watched by them in 1993. It's not to be confused with Santa Claus versus the Martians, which is also wonderful. I love that one.
But and not to be confused with Santa Claus the movie.
Yeah. But I mean, even though it is technically, it predates that Santa Claus the movie. It's not no Tim Allen and no Dudley Moore and none of those movies. No, this one was like an old, like early 20th century, maybe mid 20th, maybe it was made in the 50s, I want to say. And I think it was made in Mexico. And it's all dubbed. And it's the one with basically Santa Claus goes against the devil. But the devil is this like impish little kind of character / ballet dancer who wears like a red onesie and little red flashy trunks. And he has,
I have to see this.
He has, it's on Tubi, and he has a long black beard and little horns, and he has a little, I think a clarinet theme that's just, and because it's Mystery Science Theater, of course, Crow T Robot puts lyrics to it and just sings, "The devil is a wiener." You know that. It's also the one with the little girl, Lupita. And all she wants for Christmas is, she wants two dollies. She wants one for her and one for the baby Jesus. And yeah. And the devil's like whispering to her, like, go ahead, take it. You want it. And she can't afford it. And she's just like, no, I cannot afford it all because I want to go to heaven and I want the baby Jesus. Like she's.
Does she sound like from Family Guy? Like, no, Mr. Griffin, no, yeah.
She sounds just like that.
No.
And there's a narrator when she's like thinking about maybe stealing it. He's like, no, Lupita. And and it made such an impact that I guess on just that the creative team of Mystery Science Theater, that for episodes beyond that, whenever there'd be like a character who was tempted, one of them, one of the little silhouettes at the bottom would say like, "No, Lupita." But and it's just creepy as fuck. Santa has wind up reindeer. He like puts like a little, like a little into his reindeer, and they go and it's like it is a carnival of souls.
I think
tiny reindeer.
I don't want to see this movie.
It's funny because
sound...
the whole time it's happening, Santa is laughing, so the reindeer are laughing, and all of the silhouettes at the bottom, Mike and the bots, are all laughing because they're terrified. So they're like scream laughing with each other, and it lasts so long. Oh my God, it's my favorite. So that made the list. It's the MST3K edition of Santa Claus with Mike and the bots, not to be confused with the Joel and the bots episode where they watch Santa Claus versus the Martians, which is it's just as funny, but it's a more annoying movie. Santa Claus is just kind of surreal. I like how nutsy cuckoo it is. So yeah.
Do you recommend seeing the movie on its own?
No.
Or watching the MST3K version first?
Just seeing it through the MST3K eyes is enough.
Okay.
Don't watch it. No, you're gonna hate yourself. They're there to kind of like put the air back in the room and give you
what if I already hate myself and I just
it's not gonna help you.
Okay.
It's not gonna help you. Watch MST3K. Give yourself a break.
Well, okay. In life, if ever is the option there, it's always watch MST3K. So
always.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Our last one has to be Black Christmas, right?
Yes. 2006, right?
Absolutely. Or was it 2019?
Yeah, that one. That was great. She made an angel. No.
2019 one was dumb. 2006 was just ugly as shit.
Gross.
Yeah, and needlessly explained the origin and just you know what? And that first one,
1974 is.
it's at. I didn't rank these except for number 2, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and number 1, Black Christmas, because that is a ranking.
Yeah.
So, we did a whole video on Black Christmas. It is
superb.
We did. And if you want to watch one Bob Clark directed Christmas movie this year, I say you skip A Christmas Story. You watch his other Christmas movie, Black Christmas.
I couldn't agree more. All I can say, in addition to everything, if you want to watch our full pod, go for it, folks.
Right.
We just love on this movie in specifics for a while. I don't remember how long that pod was, but it was a while.
Too much. The cast alone.
Yes. And the progressive
Margot Kidder and Olivia Hussey and just pure dual
Andrea Martin.
Martin's in it.
And everybody's favorite meme. But
and also just Margot Kidder's character, just always drunk and just being a shit, and and the fellatio with what's his nuts with fucking
John Saxon,
expertly also directed for the type of movie. When the killer is behind the door and you can just see his eye. This is gonna sound stupid, but if you've seen the movie, it's like the scariest eyeball you've ever seen. Best performance by an eyeball in a movie. Fucking thing is terrifying.
And also I find again like a curious satisfaction, even just when I put my Scream Factory Blu-ray and I just have the menu on where they're just the carolers singing Silent Night. I just love having that, and then just looking at my tree. It makes everything just feel so ironic and so I think when we're kids, if you're lucky, I was fortunate to be kind of blind to a lot of the trauma surrounding me while I was a child. I was successfully kind of like safeguarded from it for a while, and then, you know, in retrospect you can go back and go, oh, that's what that was about. Okay. But anyway, there's something gratifying about not being coddled. You know, I mean, as much as I love joy and, you know, kind of like being imbued with hope and humanity and, you know, a light at the end of the tunnel and things like that, I also do like kind of being reassured you're not alone, not feeling safe, or feeling like there's something kind of depressing about the decor, even, you know, surrounding Christmas. The time of year, it's all dark and cold, and, you know, and people, and life doesn't stop. You know, some people have to kind of compartmentalize themselves and their lives to really kind of appreciate, you know, Christmas the way Olivia Hussey does when she, you know, watches the carolers and looks beautiful. So it's a good movie. It's a damn good movie.
When you see so much Christmas cheer,
yeah,
it's actually, ironically, it's a comfort,
yeah,
to have that be the backdrop for like bleh, bleh, bleh.
Yeah.
And that brings me Christmas joy.
Yeah. And even though I'm going to contradict myself, even though I talked about the alternate ending of Krampus and preferring the one we have, there is something about the unsettling open ending of Black Christmas.
Oh God.
That all I want to do is applaud when it's over, you know, because I have to sit through. I sit through end credits anyway, but you have to sit through those end credits and feel just the abundance of possibilities opening up, and that's the true terror of that movie. I feel it's just the end, just like leaving you with like, so what do you think happened? You know, I hate it, but I applaud it. So there you go.
You know, and it's funny that and here we are, and I'm wearing the right shirt for this discussion. The idea that, you know, like, hey, Bob Clark, if you were to make a sequel, like I don't know, like, I don't know, the guy gets caught, he's in an asylum, right? So he probably just escapes and then kills more people, but like it's got to be on another holiday. So I don't know, like fucking Halloween, like that's the sequel. And then John Carpenter's like, hey, there's something to that. Can we make that instead, please? But both of those movies also, the endings linger. Like it's not just sort of it's the Halloween isn't just like a take on that premise, but they both, you got to sit in it.
Yeah.
Just stew in it.
And just kind of know that something's out there still.
Yeah.
And it might get you. And that's Christmas.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. So there's 10 of our movies that we love.
Yeah.
I would definitely do this again next year because I have more. Lord knows I have more. And I specifically gave myself a little mandate, which was no Shane Black movies. Even though I love Shane Black movies, we all know that like he sets his movies at Christmas. And that's not a bad thing. And I'm not in any way saying he's basic, but I did feel it would be too basic of me to include Lethal Weapon or Kiss Kiss Bang Bang or Iron Man 3 or The
right
Night or The Nice Guys. Maybe next year, but for this year, no.
I love the self-imposed restraint we put on ourselves. Yes. I like that.
Because Lord knows, like the Long Kiss Goodnight would have probably, or Kiss Kiss Bang Bang definitely could have ended up on this list this year.
Yeah, if we do another one next year, I'm definitely going to have to put a few basic ones in at least. So get ready. I'm much more than movies. Even I do holiday specials too.
Dude, maybe we'll do that next year too. I want to do that this year. I just didn't. This month's been busy and shitty for me.
Yeah.
But I fucking rage on Christmas episodes and Christmas specials.
Yeah, totally.
Like nobody's fucking business. I just
Mhm.
I have a massive list I go through.
Yes. So would I.
That doesn't even, and I know and that doesn't even include like, you know, all the multiple Simpsons ones or anything.
Right.
And but I watch fucking like all the South Park ones and 3 of the Community ones, just, like Mr. Bean and Animaniacs.
Well,
And,
no spoilers for next year.
no, the thing about next year is I have to whittle it down to something.
Yeah.
So,
or we'll just live stream for 24 hours.
Yeah,
And
who the fuck knows? But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But a basic list is nice too, because there's nothing wrong with watching Elf or Gremlins or Die Hard at Christmas. It's what I do. And like Die Hard is happening this week. Elf happened today. Love Actually is happening later this week. Love Actually
and I've got
is fucking great.
I've got my own basic choices that definitely I have watched or will watch, but yeah, maybe next year. Maybe you'll find out what they are next year.
Yeah,
we'll talk about them then. Yeah.
Until next time. Thanks for joining me, Eddie.
Thank you, Giancarlo.
Have a good rest of the year, and we'll do more of this, you know, next year. Hopefully, 2022 is better. Because, like, hey, everybody, like, the world got everybody Omicron for Christmas. The world fucking sucks again.
Did you see those memes that are coming out of like people like just like sobbing, and it says like your face when you find out that 2022 said slowly is really just 2020 TOO.
Oh, no.
And I was like, okay, it can't be that bad. But maybe that's famous last words, and I don't like to say those. So I'm just gonna cross my fingers, and I'm gonna watch Shazam.
Oh yeah, good call. I like the meme of Scrooge at the window going, "What variant is this?"
I haven't seen that one. Oh, nice. Nice. Okay.
You boy, what variant is this? Everything sucks. Oh. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Merry Christmas, y'all.
Merry Christmas, the world's shit.